afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well in one of those time zones somewhere. It will be one of those things all the time. I hope you... Not all the time. Oh, jeebus. It's not... I was going to say it's a long day. It's the same length as any other day, as days are.
Right. Fair.
But it's... Yeah, see, I'm coming out with pearls of wisdom. God, I look so pale in comparison to you. Anyway, hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Warmachine World Team Championships. Round number 2. We have got Team USA Gemini versus Team Wales... Wild G. Oh, the double L's are... a T sound, I believe, but it's Gwelach. Yeah, something like that. Gwelach, something. Anyway, yeah, we've got Wales versus USA. It's quite nice. It's a good time zone for everybody around in the UK and those just waking up in the US as well. On the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just thinking about waking up.
Yeah. Well, some of them will be.
That's intentional, right?
Yeah. We're trying to get as many matchups as we can that are time zone friendly for people out there. So this morning we had Australia playing so that all the Aussies could have a check before they go to bed on Saturday night because they're ahead of us, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And we've got the Welsh now because it's around about lunchtime for them. And then this evening we're going to try and do the same thing so that you can represent, so you can help support your home country while they are representing you. So it's pretty cool. And again, once again, I am joined by John and Doug. Thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Wonderful representatives from Privateer Press. They have been lovely, well-behaved children, and I will send them back with all sorts of good things to say about the community. Anyway,
Cakes and candies.
Oh, I can provide you with candies, definitely. Cakes is not my jam. I don't actually eat cake.
Cake
Weird.
Don't put jam on cake.
falls on our table.
Anyway, let's get into the matchups here. We have got 5 tables. Oh, they've knocked the camera. I'll have to go and fix that at some point. But we've got 5 tables going on here. The players haven't hit pause on their clock yet, which is why it's not updated, but it will update over the course of the game. Table 1 here, we've got USA Gemini being represented by Michael with Gorshade 4 of the Retribution faction. And then we've got Elliot, who is rocking Gearheart with Crucible Guard, which is quite cool. That's Elliot Guest. He's not actually Welsh, believe it or not.
You don't say.
He is the mercenary. Yeah, he did tell me.
Ringer?
He is the ringer, which is quite nice. But I asked him, I said, why? And he went, I asked him why. And then he said, well, because there's only 4 Warmachine players in Wales.
Which is funny because they'll have the Welsh Masters tournament over there, and near 200 people.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I was a bit like, what's going on? But it was obviously a small joke because what's a joke amongst friends? Exactly. Table number 2, we've got Sean, who's got Madrak 2. We believe it was Madrak 2, wasn't it? Yeah.
Champion of the Creels.
Yes. And then we've got Martin with Krieger. Chieftain. Great Chieftain. Yeah. Martin, which was Krieger 1 as well.
The Stormlord. Yep.
And then on table 3, we've got Grant with Silvestro, and then Maxwell, which is with Makeda.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that Archdominant Makeda? Which Makeda was that?
I didn't see which Makeda he was running.
I will double check the list as we go. We've got a lady on the ground who is supplying me with all sorts of images for the game for clarification. And it is absolutely wonderful to be able to see all these awesome models. Maxwell is running Supreme Archdomina. What number is that? What number are we looking at? That's Makeda 2?
That's 2, but give me just a second.
Well, it sounds like 2. It's definitely not a 1, is it?
It could be a 1.
Really?
Yeah, never trust anything. But if you give me just a moment, I will be correct.
That's fine.
instead of-
I did get the Madrak number wrong.
Archdominant Makeda is Makeda 1.
Archdominant is, but this is Supreme
Oh, this was
Archdominant.
Supreme Arch.
Which makes sense for it to be 2, right?
Makeda 2, yes.
Yeah.
I was right, yay.
Unless there's 3.
There are 3.
Speaking of 3, that was table 3. Oh, seamless segue. On to a quick look at table 4's matchup. We've got Chris, who has got Kruger 1, and then Andrew, who has got Scar 1, which is using my new favorite faction, Crix.
And it just occurred to me that if that is the Great Chieftain, that is...
3.
Yep, it even says in chat, Andrew's like, Magic Great Chieftain is Magic 3.
I've already updated it.
You've already...
Yeah.
Look at you.
I've got a chat there as well. Yeah, we've got we invested it. Well, not invested. I just started using my third screen as well. So now each presenter has a screen. John and Doug have wonderful actual screens, what you guys see at home, but in full screen. And then I've got all the gizmos and gadgets sat in front of me.
I just realized I had the big full screen to myself now.
Well, I noticed you having to either put your glasses on or lean in to try and look at what was going on. So I pulled this up for your comfort more than anything else.
I was thinking that maybe like a 55-inch screen would be.
Well, if you would like to provide it, then I am more than happy to accommodate putting it in place.
Next time.
And then moving on to table number 5, we have got Adam, who is running Zal 2 in Scorn. A couple of Scorn lists here across the two teams. And then we've got Lewis, Heretic 1, running Grimkin. That's the faction, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that should be a good matchup. Zal 2 is one of my all-time favorites, so.
Absolutely gorgeous forces as well. Hang on, what makes it your favorite?
Looks cool.
Is that it?
Well, it actually plays. Zal 2 is a good caster, and
Right.
fun the way that he works with his infantry and how he can basically they can borrow fury from him to increase rolls or by
Right, okay. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So he kind of he's just like a puppet master. He's manipulating his stone minions.
Yep. They've still not swapped timers over on table 1. That's very interesting. It's just one long turn here for Gemini by the looks of things.
Yeah, it looks like Michael's moving forward with all of his troops right now.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Look, you're in real time. Anyway, he is so more movement. Right. For those of us that aren't aware on Warmachine, how does movement work? Is it a case of you move a set number of inches? Is it a case or set distance? Sorry, or is it a case of you can do up to that many movements in a turn? Is it a standard sort of game
You
process?
have a speed that you can move
Yep.
up to.
Okay, cool. And I imagine, because we've not actually talked about any, I know this is game 2, but we've not talked about any of the basics of the game. Obviously, because we've got some more experienced people watching, but it's always good for those that are new to the game, not just myself, to be a little cheeky there, but to be able to explain a little bit about the fundamentals before we then talk about it later on, if that makes sense. So does each unit get like multiple actions? Does each unit either have to move or shoot or do something else, or what's the rough outline of a turn?
So the rough outline of the turn is you've got various phases.
Yep.
Right? So you have things like maintenance, upkeep, movement, or actions. All that kind of stuff. So you have each of those within a phase.
Okay, cool. And each player plays a phase and then passes to the other, apart from like
Plays their whole turn. and
plays.
then-
Yeah. Cool. And then you alternate turns back and forth. So, for example, in this particular matchup, we'll have Adam take his turn and then Lewis take his next, and then Adam take his and then Lewis.
Right.
And when you activate a model, a single model or a unit or a warjack or a war beast, you complete everything that you want to do with them. So if you're going to walk them forward, or if you're going to run, which is double your speed, or if you're going to charge, after you charge, you're going to resolve your combat action. So you do everything you can with that model or that unit, and then you move to the next unit or model or jack or caster or whatever, however you want to do it. But you complete everything with the model you're activating before you move on to the next one.
Right.
And it could be as simple as if you run, which is double your speed in most cases, as soon as you cut me. Oh,
Nope, you're still going.
I don't hear you guys, and I
Oh, I can hear you.
okay, sorry about. But like if you run, it's double your speed, but then that burns your entire activation.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So and the movement's pretty important, right? Making sure that you're on those control points and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because depending on, like we have zones, you have to be inside of a zone to score points.
Right.
And sometimes depending on the scenario, you may not be able to score points, and to make it fair, you might not score points until the second round or the end of the second. The second player's second turn is when you start scoring points, so that one guy that might be super fast on turn 1 can't run up and start getting points just because you played a slow army. So that helps balance it out a little bit by scoring starting later.
Okay, but you could always put yourself in an advantageous position to be able to almost stop the floodgates of your opponent being able to swamp that control point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like you can move up far enough where your opponent may not be able to get into a zone or to a flag, and so then it becomes once scoring does start, then it's a real battle then.
Yeah, but I guess the disadvantage of that is if you're running a castle or something like that, it's very difficult to. I assume you guys use the terminology castle the same as like you clump around something or move together as a block sort of thing.
I think it depends on where you are, but yeah, we call it a brick.
Brick castle. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So,
I can
but
see
same
that.
concept.
Yeah, same concept. Okay, so I assume if you move up all as a brick, for example, then you could have a couple of stragglers that could easily get picked off, or
Yeah, absolutely.
summary of all that.
And there are some armies that their tactic is they're a brick, so
Yeah.
they move up as a brick, and you have to try to chip away at it, and it's hard to actually break that brick. Now, the downside of that is it can get a little bit tougher to control zones and score points.
Yeah, that is absolutely fair. So I assume that on this particular position that we've got here on the map, that orange marker is representing one of the flag.
One of the objectives, yeah.
Right. And I didn't see what this scenario was, but that would be one of the flags that can score points on.
Was it sudden death? No, something along those lines. I can't remember what the mission was.
Yeah, I'll see if I want to get up. I'll see if I can grab the packet and see what the scenario is.
Yeah, the players have a pack, don't they, of everything that's going on.
Yep, they get everything.
But would have been super useful if I had always or also accosted one of those.
We probably have one in our room.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
No,
fair.
ours didn't have it
Okay.
because we don't have a team captain because
Oh yeah.
neither you nor I are in charge. We just get to watch people play
Hang
games
on a
and talk
minute.
about it.
I'm in charge and I didn't get one.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Wow.
oversight.
Okay.
Front
Thanks,
desk at
team.
No,
privateerpress.com.
WTC runs this thing.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Just joking.
He's trying to add more workload to you, and you're trying to bounce it back
And
up.
I'm like, no. We're not here to work. We're here to talk.
Yeah, of course.
That's true.
Of course.
And speaking of that, so what you'll see here, since we are covering 5 tables at once, we're not going to get overly detailed on our descriptions. We're just kind of showing the games and talking about it. I'm sure as it gets later in this format, and like we get down to the last games or the last round or two, that we'll have a
We'll
little
be
more
able to deep
detail.
dive. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had people ask, they're like, well, you're not talking about the game as much, but we kind of are. We're talking about the game in general, but we're also just showing 5 tables off and on over each round. So
Yeah.
it's a little hard to focus on it and keeping up with what everybody's doing and what's happening. So that's why you'll see that we're not quite as detailed. Like this person runs up and they use the spell and they feed it. And so when we see stuff, we'll try to bring it to you the best we can, but just letting everyone know that we are looking at 5 tables at the same time and 10 players, so it's a little chaotic.
Yeah, and we are. I was hoping it would resolve itself, but we are just gonna have to take a tiny weeny break.
Quick reboot.
Yeah, because I forgot to set the real time after I restarted the computer because I thought restarting the computer would help save its life. So we'll be really, really quick. Right back, chat.
Free set.